Good afternoon, everyone, or good evening. This is the City of Pompano Beach Zoning Board of Appeals meeting of Thursday, July 18th, 2024 at 6 p.m. Meredith, would you please call us to order?
James Bunn.
Present.
Joe Circusi.
Present.
Nicole Kopic.
Present.
Ray Lubomsky.
Here.
Linda Thomas.
Here.
Daniel Yaffe.
Here. We do have a quorum. Thank you. Folks, I'm just going to talk to you guys for a minute since I don't have a great audience. What we're here to do is to listen to your request for a variance because you got caught, I guess, at some point. And what you're doing is applying now for the variance. And your responsibility is to still convince us that you're entitled to it. Just the fact that you've already done it doesn't matter. So what I'm going to do is, first I'm going to place you under oath in a couple of minutes. Call the case. You're going to come up to that podium. You can present right here. You could present us with everything you have that you want to. Any evidence, any testimony. I don't see any witnesses. The board can ask you questions. Then you have an opportunity for a closing statement, and then the board will discuss and vote in front of you. You'll know by the end of the evening what's going on. So I normally make a little bit of longer speech, but since there's not a lot of people here, I don't have to. But before I do that, I want to ask for a motion to approve the minutes of the June 18th meeting.
Motion.
May I have a second? Second. Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. If you're both testifying, if you'll please stand up and raise your right hand. And Meredith, if you'd swear them in, please.
Do you swear or affirm that the evidence you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Please go ahead and sit down. And let me just, what I did forget to tell you is kind of who we are. We're 6 members here of the Zoning Board of Appeals. Myself, 3 folks to my left, 2 folks to my right. We're here to listen to the appeals for people like yourself who, find themselves in a situation where they feel that the code doesn't quite cover their property. We're guided, in a sense. Scott Reales to my far right. He is from Development Services and will be presenting the city's perspective.
Jill.
Jennifer?
Jill Zillick.
I'm sorry, and I apologize. We normally James Saunders is here as our assistant city attorney. We have
Jill.
Jill. Sorry, I couldn't.
Good evening.
As our assistant city attorney, and Meredith, who runs the whole place, is right here below. Be nice to her. She controls your destiny. With that, I'm going to call the first case. It's a variance from Miguel Castro. It's P&Z 24-11. 00006. If you'd please come up to this microphone. And I'm going to need you to tell me your name, spell your last name, your address, and if you've been sworn in. This is a quasi-judicial hearing. You're under oath. So we just, want to know that you know that.
Hello, board. My name is Miguel Castro Nunez.
Hold the microphone up a little closer.
Okay. Hello, board. My name is Miguel Castro Nunez. My last name is
You guys hear that?
Castro-Nunez. My address is 4701 Northeast 17th Avenue, Pompano Beach, Florida, 33064.
Have you been sworn in?
I have been sworn in.
Thank you very much. If you'll hold off, Mr. Reale.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening, members of the board and members of the public. For the record, I'm Scott Reale. I am in Development Services. And this case is PZ 24-11-000006, and the applicant landowner is requesting a variance from Section 155-3204C, which are the intensity and dimensional standards of the RS3 zoning district of the Pompano Beach zoning code, in order to allow a portion of an after-the-fact addition to a single-family residence to encroach 3.15 feet into the required interior side yard rather than set back a minimum of 7 feet from the interior side yard. Side lot line is required by code. This property is located on a corner lot in the Pompano Beach Highlands subdivision, north of Northeast 47th Street and west of Northeast 17th Avenue. The property was first developed in 1956 when the Highlands was under Broward County jurisdiction. The neighborhood was annexed into Pompano Beach via Resolution 2024-323 on September 15th, 2004. Permit records show that corner properties in the Pompano Beach Highlands 3rd Edition subdivision required a minimum 7.5-foot setback from the interior side lot line. Today's code requires a 7-foot setback from an interior side lot line in the RS3 zoning district. Currently, the subject property is dealing with an open code case, which is case number 24-06006978, related to an addition that was constructed without permits. The as-built survey reveals that a portion of the addition is located 3.85 feet from the interior side lot line, which is the north lot line, resulting in a 3.15-foot encroachment into the required 7-foot side yard setback. A permit for a 680-square-foot building addition, which was BP 23-7917, is currently in plan review. The zoning reviewer noted that the survey provided showed another addition along the north side of the lot line that was likely constructed without permits, which prompted this variance request. The applicant concedes that a bedroom was added to the principal dwelling unit a little over 7 years ago to improve its value. Staff confirmed the addition was constructed without permits and encroaches into the required interior side yard. The original dwelling was constructed at a slight angle to the lot lines, with the north elevation setback 14.3 feet from the interior side lot line at the front of the house, and gradually moving closer to the interior side lot line as one moves west toward the back of the property. The applicant justifies the encroachment in part by stating that it is simply an extension to the north facade and the angle was not recognizable to the owner. This isn't in the staff report, but I did a little calculations. So we're talking about, of the north building facade, about 15.5 feet of the dwelling's north facade encroaches into the required side yard. So we're talking about 15 feet of the overall north facade. Now, the survey provided also indicates there's a little bit of a deficiency in the overall pervious area. The code stipulates that at least 30% of the lot shall be comprised of living pervious plant material. However, the survey notes that the total pervious area makes up only 23.89% of the lot, highlighting another code compliance issue. There are 8 variance review standards. They're included in the backup of this staff report. And should the board determine that the applicant has provided competent, substantial evidence to satisfy those 8 review standards, staff recommends the board include the following conditions as part of the order. 1, obtain all necessary governmental permits and approvals, including building and zoning compliance permits. 2, approval is strictly limited to the as-built conditions depicted on the survey submitted with this application. No additional encroachments into setbacks shall be provided. And 3, the third recommended staff condition, remove pavers or other impervious materials so that at least 30% of the lot comprises living plant material. And that concludes staff's report, and I am happy to answer any questions you may have. This one's a little bit different. We don't do too many after the facts.
No, thank you, Scott. Anybody have any questions of Scott right now?
Scott, I want to make sure I was clear. The
Your mic.
distance,
Ms. Thomas, your mic.
oh, it's not, okay. The distance required was, what was the distance you said originally?
Pardon me. There's a 7-foot setback requirement from the interior side yard to a principal dwelling. And this one encroaches a little over 3 feet. So that leaves, 3.35, thank you. So that's the closest portion. It gets gradually further away, closer to compliance as you get away from, when you get to that 15 feet, now you're 7 feet back.
Okay.
So we're dealing with just a relatively small portion of the overall facade of the north facade that encroaches. And part of that could have been done through an administrative adjustment. It's just the last little bit of it that is the closest part is what requires relief through a variance.
And was that the building that was permitted or not?
No, that was done without permits, and that's why we're here, yeah.
Scott, you bring up administrative adjustment that could have been done. Can you elaborate on that, please?
Yes, an administrative adjustment, if allows for relief, typically up to 20% of what the code allows, if it's done prior to submitting a building permit. It's kind of like a mini variance at a staff level, but you are allowed up to a 20% deviation, and you're not eligible for an administrative adjustment if it was done after the fact, if you didn't pull a permit for it.
So, but for the fact the applicant didn't pull a permit, had he come in, or they come in today with a permit request just like this, would it be granted?
The administrative adjustment, not entirely, not the closest portion that's 3.15 feet, encroaching 3.15 feet, but some of it does, just because it's at an angle.
When I look in the survey, I see a red circle around a red rectangle.
Yes.
Is how much of that is the circle the problem at this point? How much of this could be relieved administratively? What are we dealing with a couple of feet of length?
Yes, if you'd like, I can show you on the.
Yeah, I would really,
yeah.
I'm trying to understand, if this is as de minimis as it sounds like. And I apologize, you're going to have plenty of time to talk.
Oh, it's okay.
Trying to get through, with staff here. I'm sorry, Mr. Reale. I hate to say staff.
So as you can see here, this is the closest portion. This
Right.
is the problem area. This plus here, that is where you're starting to, from here to here is where it no longer, it's less than 7 feet from the north lot line.
Okay,
So approximately, I would estimate about here could have been done administratively if they had gone like this.
and your best guess to how many feet you just underlined that is that is beyond the administrative?
Probably, so out of the 20%, probably about 7 feet of the 15 feet and that's
So half the circle is what you're saying would be about 7?
half from the plus to the circle is where encroaches, but this from here to here could have been done administratively because that's within the 20% of the 7.
What is the distance of the part that could not be done administratively, which is why we're here,
Yes.
basically?
Approximately 7 feet.
Okay, that's it, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was looking for. Okay, thank you. We're just trying to narrow this down in our heads. This is not our first time, so we've looked at it a few times. Mr. Castro, please take as much time as you need. Tell us why you're here. We know why you're here. Tell us why you deserve the relief.
Well, I want to make some.
Please speak into the mic. Thank you.
Okay, sorry. So one of the things is that I actually applied for a permit for. Hello? I just got to get closer. Okay. All right. So basically, I applied for a permit for my addition, not this addition that was created, but another addition. So that was applied for. We were trying to bring the property up to code, and that's why we applied for the application. We knew that we've already made that small addition in the back. We did not apply for a permit, but I explained to the permitting department that we were going to permit it on a separate permit. And then they said, you have to, if it's not, we don't see this in the original plans, so you have to permit it, and we also see that you're having a zoning issue. So I told them, I said, well, I wasn't prepared to go and permit that with the architect and go through the whole deal that I was going through with the other addition, so I said I was going to wait. And then I was basically, they said that I had to file for a variance, and so that's why I filed for the variance. But it's not like I got caught working, or obviously, you guys caught on to it because I submitted the survey, and it was on the survey. But I wasn't trying to hide it. I'm actually here to try to see if I can, kind of clean this up. I've been living there for 20 years now, and I want to bring everything up to code. And I would like to keep this corner unit. I want to keep it as it is. One of the major reasons is that I have my sister that's living there, and she's been living with me since the pandemic, and that would ultimately, she doesn't have a place to stay. She lost her house, and she's been staying with me. She's older than me. I'm her younger brother, and she's staying with me in that room, and it would be very difficult for displace her to try to make changes. Also, monetarily, wouldn't work out for me. At the moment, I'm doing freelance work. I just got kind of like not laid off, but on a temporary leave type of thing. So those are some of the reasons that basically I would have a hardship. And it's it's just like he mentioned to you guys. It's a small portion of the property. Property wall from Vincent is 46 feet, and this area that's encroaching is like about what you guys said, about 5 to 6 feet. Naively, going into that project, I didn't realize, or that I would be in the setback, and I really don't have no real excuse as to why I did it without a permit, and I shouldn't have done it without a permit, and I'm basically would never do it again. Basically, because it doesn't make any sense. It's easier to apply for a permit rather than try to just move forward and try to tackle things down. At that point in time, I kind of needed to push through it, and that's why it got done. But in all honesty, I should have never done it that way, and that's why I'm here asking for hardship. I did get a letter from next door neighbor. I reached out to her, and that's a letter that I think that Meredith provided for you guys. And basically, I've been living there for all this time. The structure has been there now for 7 years. The next door neighbor hasn't had any problems. So I reached out to her, and I tried to see if she can sign some kind of legal agreement, but she's in New York. That's more of an email?
No, that's all we need.
Oh, okay.
It just says all we care is that she has.
Yeah. And yeah, she said that she didn't have no issues.
This is a public hearing. I'm sorry, this is a public hearing, so people can come up to the microphone or send a document in saying if they like it or not.
Yeah.
And she did. In fact, Linda
Her last name, it's on her email. Tomasi.
Linda
Yeah.
Tomasi.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, she said no problem.
Yeah, she
Okay,
said no
so we
problem.
have that on record.
And also, I've been getting a lot of phone calls from different people in the neighborhood.
Okay.
The ones that got the letter. I don't know how they got my phone number, but they were worried about what's going on, but they were all supportive within their conversation with me, at least a few that reached out to me. And it didn't look like they had any objections, but then again, there was a lot of mail-outs, so I didn't get everybody to contact me. But for the few that did come to my house and said, hey, look, I got this notice, they were okay with it. It didn't, I showed them the property, I showed them photos, and it's just that narrow corner where I'm really encroaching. And, that's basically, like I said, I don't have no real excuse as to why it got done. I'm here now, but I'm here to, and I do want to rectify it. I want to fix it. I want to be, if I'm able to keep it like this, I will pull the permits and I will go through all the permitting details that I need to do in order to bring it up to code, so you guys have all the paperwork that's needed. I never try to hide it. It's on the survey. They asked me, another thing that I wanted to bring up was the pervious area. The pervious area was already taken care of in zoning through, I think it's Griselle or one of the.
Okay, that's not even part of our
I know,
issue
but
here.
I know that he had mentioned,
Yeah.
and I just wanted to clarify that because there was a pervious area situation, but that was clarified when I pulled the permit for my driveway,
Okay,
side driveway.
good. This is a public hearing. Does anyone well, we don't have anybody in the audience. For the record, there is nobody in the audience. We do have one letter in favor by as we discussed already, a Linda Tomasi. So that goes in the record. Does the board have any questions at this point?
Yes. When you purchased a house, were the additions that were put on without a permit, were they already there?
No, the one, so both of them, the one that I'm permitting now, that one, neither of them were there. And that's why they're both getting permitted. Now, the one that we're talking about now in the northwest corner, there was a laundry there. So there was a structure there. And I built around it. So there was a structure in the same northwest corner.
So you put the structure on without a permit?
Structure without.
Right, that's why we was here.
That's why I'm here. And I'm here to try to see if I can.
Right, it's an after the fact.
Right.
Okay, any closing comments before we decide?
No, not really.
Okay. The public hearing is now closed. Let me just, going back, the criteria says there are extraordinary and exceptional conditions such as topographical narrowness, shallowness of the pertaining to the land or structure that do not apply to lands and structures of the vicinity. I looked at the aerials and saw this was a fairly unique situation. It's not going to give any. If you look down the standards, I think he pretty much complies with all the standards. And, I'm not going to, if you look at the wisdom here, certainly the wisdom is not to require the homeowner, the applicant, to demolish the structure that's already built. So I would encourage you to support this. And any further discussion or motion? Have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, in PC case 24-11-0000006, I move we find there is competent and substantial evidence in the record that all the requirements for granting the variance have been met, and we grant the variance subject to the conditions requested by staff.
May I have a second?
I second.
Thank you. Further discussion? Call the question, please.
James Bunn,
Yes.
Nicole Kopic,
Yes.
Joe Circusi,
Yes.
Ray Lebomsky,
Yes.
Linda Thomas,
Yes.
Daniel Yaffe.
Yes. You are approved, retroactively and going forward, and just do the right thing next time, okay?
Thank you.
And stay in touch with Scott. He'll keep you on the right path. Good night. Is there any other business before us?
Anybody know what the letter the guy wrote about? You decipher what it said?
I'm not sure I saw what you were looking at. Anything else?
Well, I just wondered if, I know sometimes the city commission takes August off. I just was wondering if anyone's taking a holiday next month because, could have, I mean, we have one. Okay.
And I won't do it by Zoom either.
So we'll keep the meeting scheduled unless it comes, turns out that we don't have enough of a quorum to have a meeting.
Anything?
There
Third
will,
week of August,
there's a
like
couple of
every other
items that are, I haven't processed them yet.
All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you. We're adjourned. Thanks, everybody, for coming in. I know it's only one